Welcome viewers, this is the £74,000 house that I bought. We're currently still going under a lot of pull-out at the minute, and we're standing in the bathroom that's downstairs. So what we've done recently, Sammy and Charlie today have pulled out this wall that we had to pull out, and we've made this bathroom a lot bigger. Now, where Sammy's standing, if you want to have a look, we're going to be bricking or blocking this up, putting a concrete block in here and replastering this environment. And where you are standing, cameraman, you are standing there, this is going to be the new door into the kitchen. Now, it's not ideal, but this is the way it has to be. Come on, I'll show you this, and I'll show you how wiring is not supposed to be done. Very dangerous, of course. And I thought I'd keep it before I pulled it out. Now, as we pulled out this is actually bare cable. This should be protected by a twin and earth or a flex. It should have a double skin on it, but as you can see, whoever the electrician was, they put this in, put a connector block above, and they put another plastered the single skin cable into the wall beside the neutral. So if you have a look, there's a screw hole there and a screw hole there. If anyone knew that that was sitting there, they would have dug that in there and they would have shorted that against their whatever they were drilling into. Very dangerous. That is what I would call amateur hour. It's terrible that houses nowadays still has this, but there it is. No one in my team would do something like that. I just flicked that onto you. We're gonna pull out Sammy will probably pull out the ceiling here. Yeah, I need to pull it out. We'll get Charlie to pull that out because it's got that ripple. We'll just pull it out and then we'll put insulation up into it and put the board up and then get. It is a flat roof, yeah. I mean, with the new flat roofs, again, yeah, I know that you guys know this. With a new flat roof, it's a different type of thickness. There's a lot more insulation has to go on. You kind of put the flat roof on, then you put another section of roofing or a timbers on, and then you go for a large chunk of insulation. So because this is already done, we don't have to do this, but we will fit extra thick insulation up into this room. So there it is. This is the bathroom. It's going to be a full pull out, full plumb as well. Charlie or Sammy, I've got Chris coming to do the kitchen for us, or for the plumbing for us. So we'll get you to meet Chris as well. Chris is doing some work up in Lisburn soon. But yeah, there it is. Yeah, you recording? No, you go ahead and record. There's no problem. All I'm doing is I'm just basically trying to pull this back here and find out if we've got live to it. Is there any bulbs in here? No, there's a bulb there, isn't there? So let's just make sure.
So the electric's not on?
What do you mean? No, the electric's on, the lighting's just off on the. What do you say? Oh, maybe so. Maybe the whole switch is tripped, but. So here's a wee tester here. We'll find out if it's working. Doesn't seem to be alive here. Okay, that's grand. It's all off. I don't want to re-switch it here. So this is known as a switch feed and switch wire. This is actually the lighting circuit to turn on the lights here, but that'll all have to be rewired here. So you'll see there, if you come close there, Rowan, there is two reds. A lot of people don't realize when it comes to red and black, it's the old edition. I'll just tell the viewers, actually not you, Rowan, because you'll just go, and you'll do that. This is red and black. It is the old edition of wiring. However, it is okay to continue using that stuff. A lot of people say, oh, it needs rewired because it's red and black. When it comes to red and black wiring, don't just immediately think you have to pull out the cables and rewire it. Yes, you'll probably have to do additional wiring, and you can use the practice of blue and brown combining with the red and black. But if you're doing a new, this whole entire room will be wired again, but I will have the power supply to this room still in red and black because the cabling is fine. It was wired about 15, maybe 16 years ago. The only thing that I need to change is the consumer unit, and of course do some extra work, new pull-throughs, new cabling for, say for example, some new modern commercial supplies or supplies that are needed for likes of television and this lighting circuit. But there's not really much that needs to be done when it comes to the cabling of this house. So I'm going to keep it the same. So I'll show you more about that upstairs when we're out of Sammy's way. Okay, so I'm doing a bit of wiring today. There's a couple of things I need to do. I use my forte, my skill set. I am an electrician and we've got other people who are professional in what they do. But if you come on down to here, so I've just disconnected a socket here. As you can see, that back box is destroyed. So it's rusted, caused by a damp that's been trickling down on the corner here. Now that is dry, that is dried out, but the rust inside is destroyed. And this cable here is one of the older twin and earth cables, the black and red. The reason why I know that is because it used to be, see the way it's threaded, that is older. So that's an older cable. So I would say that's a single radial wiring. So it's probably going directly into the actual consumer unit. So I'm going to disconnect that upstairs. I'm going to try and locate the cable upstairs and pull it. This is going to be just cut off, and we'll track a new cable here for a new socket to go about here. So I will probably go from down and then into the floorboards and then up with a new track about here. I'm not going to go from the top because of the problem that we have at the top. If you have a look, we've got that nice cornicing. I don't want to pull it down, I want to keep it. So I'll pull the new cables. I'll put a new ring in the living room. So I'll probably rip out the old ring and put a brand new ring to make sure that it's on a separate circuit. I'll probably put 3 rings in here, one for the kitchen and the hall, one for the kitchen and the back, one for here, and then one for upstairs. Maybe 3 rings. I might put it into 2, I don't know. Depends on what I see with the cabling. So you can come in here through the little door. It's not been pulled out yet fully, but come on up. Update with this room. You remember this room here I was telling you guys about insulation. I bought the insulation boards here now. Now all I'm doing is I'm skinning it with a standard 25mm insulation board. It's a Kingspan Therma. And what we will do is we will use top hats, and we'll just basically put this straight against the wall with a plasterboard, top it in, make sure that our wiring is done so I'll have my cables on surface. I'll pull new conduits up, and I'll make the boards, I'll make the back, I'll fit the backs of the new cables and a conduit going down underneath the floor. And then what I'll do is I'll put this Therma on top, the plasterboard there on top, and we'll skim it with plaster. People were asking me about this wall. This is the neighbour's wall. It's not cold. I understand that people are saying, oh, what about sound? I know that that's an issue. I'm probably still not going to soundproof it. The problem is space. We're taking 25mm here, 25mm here, and then suddenly you got 50mm less of a room. It's a small enough room as it is. I would rather just simply take 25mm, of course, plus a 10mm of plaster and plasterboard. If we do it either side, I'm losing space this way, so I don't particularly want to do it. So back to the wiring, what I was telling you about. Come on, see here. So we've pulled up the boards. This is chipboard. Odds are I'm going to pull up the entire floor here, purely because I want to put better boarding down. At the minute, they've locked this stuff in, and it's absolutely, to be honest with you, it's terribly done. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find a cable here. This is the cable that I was telling you about that I was looking for downstairs. Now what have we got here? We still don't have that cable that I'm currently looking for. Or torchy, where are you going to? So I can see by the render, this is the supporting wall here. So as you can see, there's a supporting wall. So on this side is the door side and the hall, and on this side is the living room side. This wall here, look, you can just see it. And the joists sit to the side of it and to the other side of it, which means that this wall is actually not a supporting wall. Makes sense, because the supporting walls going underneath this here. But I'm still looking for that cable, and I see there is a new cable has been pulled here somewhere. This is an earth, so that's the proper standard. That's 20 mil earthen cable, this one here, and that's a standard 2.5 or 1.5 mil twin and earth. I would say that's the power supply for the back of the building, for the lighting circuits, I would say. But looking at this one here, this is a black type butyl rubber, and then you got this single strand earth that is really old. Odds are they've just basically left it in there. I don't think that's active, and if it is, it's not going to be a part of my cabling. I would say, if I am totally right on this girl, this one here, is actually the cable that I was talking about. And I was looking here, but there's it sitting looking right at me. And it's not going anywhere. But I would say it's probably because it's concreted in or cemented into the wall. So I'm going to take an intelligent guess based on my years of wiring houses. I'm going to assume it's this one. So we are dead, and I'm just going to cut this girl here, and that is the one. I knew that was the one. So if you have a look here, so again, you're not really concerned yourself about, so as you can see, it's multi-stranded. It's the same one that I'm looking at. There it is there, multi-stranded. To me, I always thought multi-strand was the best, but they all go single core now in the modern houses. So I'm going to basically rip that out now. She's gone for good, and I'm going to cut it to the plaster here. The wee pair of snips there. I've got them. The wee pair has been. I've had them since I was an apprentice. There we go. So that is now going to be buried into the wall forever and a day. That is no longer going to be used. And then I'm going to pull that back, because I'll know where that is, and I'm going to pull that back into by the con unit. The con unit sits directly here. So the consumer unit's here, just down below. So all the cables with all the property will be going back to there. We do need to replace the consumer unit. So we do. And again, I talk about the insulation. So we're packing insulation here, but look what's happened. If you look closely here, Raweem, right over here, this is actually still wet. Now, the weather's not been so good. It's been raining a lot. So there's water getting in somewhere, and it's just feeding this area here. I think I've managed to get to the bottom of this problem. And so the next door neighbor has authorized me to go ahead and fix the chimney. Well, it's still pending today, but I think they're going ahead with it with me, for me to repair their chimney, put a brand new lead tray in, take down the existing chimney, put a brand new lead tray in and an apron, and build the flashing up around that, and then build a brand new chimney pot stack afterwards using brick. So, but that's the reason why we have this problem here, and I can't do anything until the chimney above is fixed to the neighbour. So the neighbour's probably looking for us to do it, and I'm grateful for that work. If you're watching, thanks. But anyway, so I've got to find out what's going on with this, where the water's coming from. I did open the window to find out what's going on, and I can't really see it, but I would say it's got something to do with that vegetation maybe, or the downspouting, but we'll come to what's going on once I've done that work. It seems to be trivial work. I would say once I get the outside painted, we'll find the problem, and there's probably a crack and it's coming down through the building. So yes, so I'm talking to you guys, anyone that has a house that you're refurbishing, of course the electrician's going to say, pull it apart, rewire it, 5, 6, 7, 8 grand, whatever it is. Nonsense. And don't listen to someone telling you. Some people say, well, I don't want to guarantee the work if it ain't fully cabled. That's fair enough. But if you are looking to rewire a home, rewire on the basis that the cabling is no longer to the latest edition. that it is on the wiring regulations. Every spark will want to pull out the electrics and put brand new ones in, and to a certain degree I do too, because I kind of know where everything goes and I know when the rings are, there's no hassle. But because this is my house, I'm okay with simply testing all the circuits after the wiring has been done, and checking. Red and black does not stop the electricity from going through. Just because it's blue, it's only recognition of colour. And I intend to keep this house for as long as I need to. And if it came to a point where I have to rewire it, I will consider that in 10, 15 years time. There may be new changes. There is some new consumer units coming in, and they're known as sort of arc trips. And what they do is they trip out should there be an arc, and you can electronically reset them, allegedly. But I might go and put the technology into this house, because ultimately as a tenant, and arcing does cause the problems. But if you look, when we start pulling off all the boards, you start seeing things like this. Now there's an old, again, a butyl rubber cable. Again, it's dead. I don't know where it goes to, what it sees, or what it's for. I'm going to open this up and find out actually. So all the appliances are going to be changed, and I intend to repair or replace every single appliance with modern switches and just make it look very pretty. There's new doors going on, new switches, new floors. The whole thing's more or less, the whole entire place is going to be new. Now, if I'm right, odds are this is probably related to this, but it shouldn't be. It should not be wired this way. I'm hoping that it's got a standard wire and someone's retrospectively put this in, but we shall now see. Okay, so that's normal. That's a normal, so there's your twin and earth, and that's a single core, that's modern cabling, but it's just a different color. If you guys want to know how to wire that, I can do a video on how to work what they call, this is known as a one gang, one way wiring light system. Straightforward, it's wired up there. The actual control circuit is over here in the ceiling rows, and I can show you how that's done, so we can do that. In fact, we'll show you in another video without my boring face. We'll probably do some graphics instead. So, whoop. So all these sort of switches will be replaced eventually. I will keep them on for the time being, just keep them loose, but every single one of them switches is going to be done. I don't know what that butyl rubber cable is. It seems to be like a flex cable. There's a possibility that it's related to maybe, I don't know actually. I don't know where that's going to. There's all these sorts of things like little cables and sort of, that's an aerial lead that's somehow wired in there. Again, that's not really how you would do terrestrial cable through the wall. I have no idea how they did that. Let's have a look at this. There's more cables coming here, look. So let's have a look at these cables. So these are twin and earths, and they look like the normal. So they feel like the single strand cable, you kind of know. And then you got some single cables, and they're protected, of course. So that standard of cabling to me is acceptable. I'm finding no issue there at all with that cable. And inside here, we'll just check them again. So again, I'm just taking the gang off. Now remember guys, please don't do this if you don't know what you're doing. A little knowledge is a lot of danger, and I've seen a lot of people make mistakes and electrocute themselves. So if you're not that good, I would like to teach you an understanding of electrics, just so that you're not being cheated by any spark that wants to try and rip you off, and that's vital. You must make sure that you don't do that. Okay, so again, twin and earth, single core cable, that's grand. To me, it's earthed to the box. Again, I will probably change this back box, but to me, that's regulation. The color's not reg, but the process, the wiring, it's all regulation, it's okay. Colors, you can't just rip out every house in the world or in the country just because the wiring regulation, the IE regulations will turn around and say it's now red and blue, or so it's now brown and blue. The way I see it is, as long as it's earthed and as long as the cable's in good condition, it should stay the same, and just don't pull it out. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, here's the one here that we're looking at here. So this cable here has been pulled in. This is a plug socket. As you can see, it's been buried into the wall. Now that has to be replaced, but if you look down below here, there's some really bad conduit. Now that is an oval conduit. It's not the standard now. We use 20 mils round conduit. I used to do that when I was an apprentice. I used to use the oval conduit. But I'll just pull this girl out and see what's happening behind her. I have a funny feeling that this ring that's in this building is actually older than the lighting circuit. So I think there's a possibility that, okay. Now normally we tap would actually get this girl out, but it's been cemented that or put back in. I'm gonna have to maybe get the big guns out. So here we go. There we go. So that's really bad work for anyone that's sort of doing it. Plasters, they're just plaster of everything. Let's have a look at these girls. Okay, so it is modern cabling again, and the condition of the cable is okay. So what I'll do is I'll not touch this ring at all today, but I can see this box need to be moved. So what I will do is I'll coax this all out, and I will put a new conduit in here with a new socket about here, not in this section here, but I'll raise it up to the standard height, which is about here, guys. So this is not the standard height. I may have to do some work and pull cable, but this has to be lifted for me to see what's going on with that. But overall, the electrics are fine. So learn from this, people. You know, don't always trust your electrician. Your electrician will try and take them. It doesn't really require much work to rewire a small property like this. Now, because I'm quite busy, I got a quotation for someone, and they were looking to charge me £6,000 to wire this. Parts, it's gonna cost me about maybe £500 to rewire this entire house. Labour, it's gonna take me about 2 weeks to rewire this entire house. First fix and second fix. And I can't understand how someone has the courage to charge or try to charge me £6,000 to wire a small house like this. At the most, the wiring modernized, it's probably going to cost me £1,000 overall if I was charging a fee of £45 an hour, which I do charge. There it is. We'll take another one off. I know that that's going to be okay. If that's okay at the back, this is okay at the front. Again, there's another conduit here. It's an oval conduit. I'm wondering if they just used the existing conduits and rewired it and pulled the cables through and not put in new conduits when they rewired it. To me, that's not a full rewiring then. But overall, it's okay. Let's go and have a look at the consumer unit, shall we? Come on down. Charlie, have you got the, what do you call it, buddy? Have you got any stands or anything, have you? Okay, so look above. Here's the consumer unit for the girl. And as you can see, there's a bit of work involved. Now, do you see here? This is a BT cable. I'm just going to go ahead and pull that out because as far as I'm concerned, it needs to be no longer surface wired. It's a standard telco pair. So as you can see, I don't know if anyone knows what goes on. All these cables they talk about, none of it's really needed. You need just simply a 2-pair for your broadband. That's it there, blue and white. It doesn't necessarily, again, color does not tell you where the data goes. It's not the color that tells you where the data goes, how you wire it. And recognizing you got a pair in here, look, there's orange and white going to blue and white. Just someone's decided to use the blue and white. It's nothing spectacular. But what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to, that's it, sorted. That's it now disconnected, and that can go into the bin. If a tenant wants broadband, they can get it reinstalled, but I will have the provision for the customer. This little con unit. So as you can see here, up above, you've got damp. coming in, and it's still quite fresh. This will need to be sadly redone somehow. So this is where we talk about regulation. Regulation consumer units are now metal, and this is something that is no longer allowed. So a plastic box. Now, I'm going to keep this for the time being. No, I'm not, because I don't really need it. So it's an old Hager board. It's not that old. The installation was done, doesn't say when it was done, so the people who wired it didn't actually put it down. Regulation, you have to stamp when you've installed it. So sparks like me come along and go, how long has it been installed? How old is the electrics? So looking at the girl here, what they've done is they've put a brand new con unit in, and they've pulled the cables in. There's your 16mm earth. Your neutral bar is up there. Your other neutral bar to your switch feeds up there, and it seems okay. Now that, oh my goodness, look at this, girls and boys. You see this? Now, can anyone tell me how wrong that actually is? I've no idea. What have they done? Have they isolated this? I will have to follow that through and find out why. So I need a lift above the where I showed you earlier on, and I have to find out what's going on here. So there's a part blue, part brown, part black, part red wiring obligation in here, and it looks dead on. The cooker itself has been removed. I'm going to keep that offline. The water heater, the wiring seems okay. Maybe this has just been isolated and they put all the back in the con unit, or that's an extra somewhere. There's your ESCOs for your cable. This comes out of into the fuse board. This is then metered and then pulled out into the supply. This is my side of the supply. I can access these two girls here and pull new cables in if I want to put a new con unit in. This con unit will be pulled out. This is a brand new consumer unit, has to go in. I like MK consumer units, just years and years of doing it. I like the MK stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'll be able to get it, it just sees what's on offer. Some con units have a board that goes from this way down when it opens it, or this way up. I like the ones that go up from here because we have to work on it as long as it stays open. This has to be all repaired first, so as you can see, there's your tails coming in from the electricity board into here, into a 100 amp fuse. It's all wired. This is the unmetered supply, and that's the metered supply. There's a 20mm cable here going out and then going across here, and it's somehow, I don't know what's going on with that one. So they buried this cable somehow, where, I don't know. There's the bell. Again, we don't really need bell wires anymore. Bell wires have come to an end. We kind of do wireless bells now. A chime system on a wireless bell. That seems to be an older BT box. So again, BT just keeps putting bloody boxes in. Look, another box there, another box up there, and there's another box down there. But they're all going to be pulled out. We have to get that all sort of stripped back and put on the cabling. I will probably put an enclosure in here and make it all nice and enclosed up. I think it's ugly. Anyone who walks into a hall and sees this big gasping electric board at you, it's ugly. So this is live, by the way, just so you know. This is 240 volts coming through there. Yes, and I am a qualified electrician, so I can do this. But again, I would not recommend anyone that doesn't know about wiring practices, how to electrocute yourself and how buzz bars work. Do not go in there unless you're absolutely trained. Just checking here, the wiring on here. I find this a bit weird. They've actually put and it's actually silicon. Put a rubber silicon gasket around it. I would say that's the painters did that. People love the silicon. It's It's nice and white and it stays white, but it's bloody annoying. If you're one of them painters that do that, will you stop putting silicone around? What I'm doing here is I'm just trying to establish where the lights belong to what. All right, so this is somehow a standard. This is a two-way switch. Okay, these are known as a two-way. So what it's got 3 cables and it's known as a two-way, where you have your main supply coming in and then it goes down to this switch. When you turn that on, power either goes through this leg or through this leg up to the power upstairs. And what that does, that allows you to turn it off or on here, and then you can go upstairs and you can turn it off or on there. So it kind of puts the power back and forth to the consumer unit. Now, this is also a two-way switch here. Do we need it? The way I see it is I would have put this switch into this switch. And then I would have had a two-way switch here. Why there's 2 individual switches so close together in proximity, I have no idea. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to disown this girl here. This one here is going to be pulled back, and we're going to re-circuit behind here, dig this out and pull that cable into this switch here. So put a new box on, probably put a new conduit in as well while we're at it. It's been plastered heavily in here. I'm going to pull that back, and the cabling for here and the cabling here will be jointed together into one conduit down here and into a new box, and this switch can turn off that switch, because that's called a two-way as well. That's a one-gang two-way. Why we say two-way? There's one way and here's another way. That's another way. You turn it on when you go into the house. Before you go home or up to your bed, you turn it off there as well. So that's why it's known as a two-way. There is another one called a one-gang intermediate, where you've got 3 switches or even more, but 3 switches, where you can turn it off at 3 different locations. We seem to already have supply for smoke alarms. That's going to remain so. I will probably replace them with brand new ones. Why? Because I don't know how old they are, and I just rather replace them with the modern ones, and then I know when the commission date was, and then I don't have to concern myself about going back for another 8 years or whatever it is to test them, or not to test them but to verify them. This is a thermostatic switch, so this is the thermostat that turns on the boiler. I'm probably going to rewire that, pull it up into the board, and I will probably put it on the inside of the building, inside the living room. Yeah, I'm going to put it inside the living room. This is not really a heat zone. This is actually terrible. Why they put it there, given the fact there's a drafty door there. I don't understand it, but the mind boggles. There we are. That's us.